Well, g'day. Today we're going to be talking about the bike leg of the Ironman. And I guess the key thing is early, you want to set your pace and your form early. You don't want to flail. You're setting the scene for your whole race here. Getting your shoes on, getting into the aero position, relaxing your face and jowls, and starting to focus on the power going through the pedals smoothly. It's critically important that you set that up early, because if you flail, if you're chaotic, if you're all over it like a cheap suit, it sets the tone for the rest of the race. So if you're racing for position, the first thing is to stay calm, ride hard, but keep it super smooth. Accept the challenge, but don't let it rule you either. You want to feel like you have some agency over the pace and the form. And you do have that agency. It's only when we project to outer things and overanalyze what's happening that we get into trouble. So the first 40 kilometers of an Ironman is always the fastest. So if you're gunning for position, the key is to remind yourself that you've done the work that's able to sustain you at a high pace for this first 40 Ks. And that keeps it real. It keeps it in check. Consequently, or if you're more interested in a static position, you're not interested in being up the front or racing for an age group or whatever, you want to focus on form, and you want to focus on staying aerobic, and you want to focus on being smooth. So now here's the thing with Ironman that no one ever seems to really talk about that much: flow. Flow is such a big one for Ironman. Flow is so big for the bike because it not only creates a great bike leg, it sets up a strong run leg as well. So if you don't have any flow, you don't have any go. So now let's look at it like this. To get flow, things need to smooth out, right? So let's say you're in the aero position and you're coming onto a climb or a hill. Instead of jumping all over that climb like a cheap suit, you know, the key is to ride the climb smoothly. Change down the gears methodically. So there's very little change in your energy cost as you do so. So you relax your upper body, you drive through the glutes, and you avoid power spiking on that climb, right? You ride up it smoothly, gradually applying more pressure as you go, not at the bottom, as you go, right? When you get to the top, you ride over the top of the climb without lifting off. You stay at the same intensity until you've gone right past the top of the climb and over. And that will gain you a lot of time. But not only will it gain you a lot of time, it'll also keep you smooth. It will also keep you in flow. And every now and then, you want to get out, put the bike into a big gear and get out of the saddle and swing the bike underneath you at a really low cadence. And this gives the body a rest from the position. And you get to maintain the flow and the rhythm of the ride. So you put it right up into a big gear, you swing the thing underneath you, you're giving your body a little bit of a stretch. It's such a good way. And then you put it back into normal race cadence, you go back down in your position, and you're back on again. So now there is a lot of data out there on Ironman cadence. For mine, you're saving oxygen and maintaining flow at around 80 to 85 RPM. Naturally, depending on personal mechanics, that can vary, right? Some people tend to ride lower cadences. Some people tend to ride higher. You need to find the point where you are most aerobically oxygen efficient at the highest possible speed. You need to have done that in your training. Anyway, it's all about the flow of the ride. If you get it right, you shouldn't fade. Things, think about what you're doing, right? If you're burning the candle early, catch yourself in it, smooth yourself out. Note I did not say slow down. There's a big difference, right? You don't need to slow down. You just need to find the points where you're bleeding energy, wasted energy that you're not using into the process. And one little trick is to always keep your face relaxed. It informs the rest of your body. Tension is in the face will be mirrored in your body. Note I haven't said a word about power yet. And I don't think there's any need to. There's been so much written about it. It's almost a moot point. But these aspects are about racing now, instincts, presence. All of those things bring you flow, rhythm. So they're very, very important, but they're not talked about a whole lot in Ironman racing. So if you're racing for a high place in your age group, etc., and you're racing at the front of the group, then you need to respond, but you don't need to react. You have to have, well, you do have more time than you think. So the point is, don't panic. Don't use up, pointless energy in reaction. Reaction won't take you anywhere. It'll just get you into trouble. So in the same way, when you're going through aid stations, keeping it smooth, applying that exact same philosophy, take the bottles out smoothly, don't rush, don't react, move fast, think slow, maintain the flow, like you have all the time in the world. And this mental introspection will vastly improve your outlook because you're bringing it from the inside. You're bringing this non-hurried, non-rushed, non-reactive, accepting feeling from the inside. Gives you way more power over this ride than you think. So similarly, don't jam your nutrition in like you're a starving homeless person on their first meal in 6 months. Don't assault your gut. Take a little, small amounts. Give yourself space to take it on. Think about the flow, Response and reaction are two different things. We get ourselves into strife because we rush. When we slam nutrition in, all we're doing is shutting down our guts. So you're better off to take smaller amounts more often. And fluids the same way. You want your body to accept it. You want your gut to accept it. Don't rush. Don't panic. Now, at about 120 kilometers on the bike, that's when things will invariably get tough, right? So you need to remind yourself that form and flow are the anchors, like we spoke about. Now we're gunning to ride consistently. Don't allow the fatigue to create a story in your head. Expect the fatigue, accept the fatigue, stay with the focus. And if you need to, get out of the saddle a little bit more, break it up. But this fatigue will lift as soon as your head smells that barn towards the end of that bike. So it's how you manage your thinking in between the 120 and the 160 mark that makes all the crucial difference. And this is where we easily lose our shit. And it's where most people lose their shit. So the more present you can stay, the better. The more anchored you can stay, the better. The more flow you can bring to this ride, the better. Because it brings strength. You get this feeling of an underpinning strength that flows through the whole ride. It's not chaotic. It's not up and down. You're not in and out of the saddle on climbs. You're not jumping all over the place, wasting precious energy. You're not shutting down your guts. They're very, very simple aspects, but they're often overlooked. The Ironman bike is all about the run. So the smoother your Ironman bike is, the more flow there is in that ride, the more bickies you're going to have to spend on that run. Thanks for listening.